Gretel and Hansel, a new reimagining of the classic Brothers Grimm tale about two children lost in the forest and stumbling upon a witch's hut. The title is flipped, with Gretel being mentioned first because this version changes the ages of the characters and instead of two equal protagonists focuses on Gretel. In this adaptation she's the older sister, around 16 years old, while Hansel is just 8. That changes the dynamic and makes him more dependent on Gretel, who has to take responsibility and care for the little brother and try to protect him from the witch. The witch, who, apart from her clearly evil intentions towards the children, sees potential in Gretel herself and wants to take her on as a student of the dark arts. So the film was marketed as a straight horror, and it really isn't that. What it is a creepy, disturbing and unnerving tale, but it isn't exactly terrifying. It definitely borrows a lot from The Witch, especially, although isn't as effective. There are no jump scares throughout the entire film, and the only scary things are the atmosphere and the suggestive cinematography. The cinematography, which probably is the best part of the film, especially the first half of the film, is filled with shots that made me go, wow, this looks really great, this looks nice. The images are somehow weird, otherworldly. They do give off that vibe of unreality, of the movie being a fairy tale that doesn't necessarily take place in the real world. The movie feels like a very creepy fantasy film with horror elements. Now, I personally enjoyed it for what it was, and I was surprised to go on the internet afterwards and find that people generally disliked the movie and bashed it. I think a lot of those reactions have to do with having different expectations towards the film. I mentioned the straight horror marketing, and I do agree with some of the criticisms. The story is a little unfocused, there are plot points which seem to be introduced and then abandoned, and the movie doesn't really explain everything at the end, but I was okay with those things because I was able to drown in the movie's atmosphere. I took it as a sort of fever dream, and a large part of the story is focused on dreams as well, and so I accepted the imperfections and holes as that sort of dream logic, as something that doesn't necessarily have to make sense and be explained, so long as it hooks you in emotionally. And I have to say, I also like the ending quite a lot. I think it manages to close the plot in a clever way while leaving a fair bit to the imagination and interpretation of the viewer. I enjoyed Gretel and Hansel, but be aware that it's something else than your typical horror film.